I am very appalled that I have not seen any African American descent. I've seen a few, but not a lot, out protesting of what's right, what's wrong. It's just weird to me that they are staying away from all this that is going on. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what's going on, but I just hope that you guys do realize when it was Black Lives Matters that a lot of Hispanic and even Caucasian people stood up with you guys to represent that we all belong here, that we all need to be respected, because everyone is a human. And weird to me how protests, I'm only seeing like Caucasian people and Hispanic people, and just think that it's weird. Not sure why. But I really hope, America is always about government, it's always about hating a race. Like when they used to hate the Indians, when they used to hate all Chinese people because of coronavirus. Now it's the immigrants. Then when they used to hate Black Americans, black African Americans. But it never ends. It's gonna come a day again where the government's gonna say something about maybe African American people, and you guys will be attacked again because it happens all the time. Probably like every time like something happens, it's always a race being attacked. So what I'm trying to say is that we will stand behind the people that stand with us. But if you're right now looking at everything that's going on and not saying nothing, not speaking out, comparing yourself or saying that it's not the same, we will stand behind the people that stand with us. That's what I'm trying to say. But other than that, I don't think it's right. I guess you guys, or some of you guys, yes, are with us. But end of the day, we are all humans and we all do need respect. And let's stop the hate.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you're doing great from wherever you're watching me from. As you know, I'm your host and presenter Eugene Tech Stories. Well, I'm hoping that you're doing great. Recently we have been having discussion about Hispanics and the recent people's take towards Black participation in the protest, in the LA protest, and these as both different arguments. Well, now there's something interesting which arose just recently. We have some Hispanics that were discussing, saying that Black people don't want to support us, but they will be deported. They are the next people to be deported, and that they should support Black people. While today's video is not more focused on the deportation. I mean, not deportation really, but it's not focused on the Hispanics. But this is a historical lay ground for us to discuss as to why I think I might not be right, but I think Black people cannot be deported. According to the American Constitution, according to history, Black people cannot be deported because we have a group of Hispanic people that are thinking that if Blacks doesn't want to stand with us, that if Blacks doesn't want to support us, they will be soon, and they'll be the people will be next to be deported. And I think some news says that Hispanics also participated in voting for Mr. Donald Trump because they thought that Black people are the ones who are going to be deported and not them. Well, as things stand that they are the ones that are now being deported. We are having a lot of ICE raids, and right now they're calling for Black help. And when Black people didn't help them, what did they say? They came and said that Black people, you are next. All we thought that they're gonna be starting with you, but they started with us. But just know that you are next. And now this prompted me to go and look, because I was so much interested in this. If they decide to deport black people today, black people in the United States, black Americans, African Americans, foundational black Americans, right? If they say that they're the ones that they are gonna be deporting, then where will they go? Okay, I understand the historical part of black people's relationship with Africa, right? Let's put that aside for a little bit and let's argue in this way. Black people were brought in these places. They were not brought by their own will. But remember, we also have a few, not a few, but a lump sum amount of black people that came to the United States even before Columbus. And this group of Africans, then, they had the power, they had the technology to use the ship technology, to use the dhows, to move to oceans and reach the United States and reach these shores of the United States. Remember, these people didn't come as enslaved. They discovered a land, and the land is called America. So, black people cannot be deported. I want us to watch this video. Different people are arguing differently. But let's come back and have this scholarly discussion. If you're watching us for the first time, I'll most definitely ask you to subscribe to the channel, join our membership, and really get to see what we can offer you. But until then, let's watch the video. I'll be back.
Hey, mi gente. If you see my face, it's just that I have the itis. My daughter just cooked a mean fucking steak, and I ran up the street chasing my pug, who was chasing a kid on a fucking bike and almost got ass hit by a fucking car. Aries. Y'all let y'all, I'm gonna fuck up Aries. That's the one that's always eating edibles. And now she's running after people in the street. That one right there. That one's gonna be the death of me. But anyway, I digress. Not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the statement Homeland Security just made. And it has to do with those that fell under the Refugee and Parole Act. You know, Cuba, Haiti, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, right? And I hope you know that as soon as Trump came in, he revoked the status of 500,000 immigrants. I got a couple of points to make on that, but let me give you the timeline. 2022, the Biden administration allowed, I don't think it was 500,000 then, but allowed refugees to come in under that program, seeking legal status. Okay, that becomes important in a minute. And what does this administration do? The minute they come in here, they revoke it. I'm going to get to my point, because between MAGA and Cubans for Trump. And by the way, this video, if I talk about Cubans, I'm talking about Cubans for Trump, Venezuelans for Trump. That's who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Cubans in general. Had a couple people get offended the last time. You should know me by now. I got a hard on for Cubans for Trump, Venezuelans for Trump. Not people in mi gente community. Anyway, with that being said, first thing this administration does, as soon as they come in, is they revoke that status, right? Now, that went to a court, and it was on stay, meaning that the Trump administration couldn't do anything. But it was heard by the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court said they can deport the 500,000 people. So now leads me to my statement today. Homeland Security makes a statement today that says this: either deport yourself or we will deport you. You have to understand that those immigrants that are here legally are like low-hanging fruit. They're the easiest ones to get to by revoking their status. Okay? Now, here's where my disgust, right, and the hypocrisy of those that voted for him, Cubans and Venezuelans, this is where my disgust comes in for you as a human being. Because you now made it impossible for anyone seeking a better life for their family. You now made it impossible by voting for this piece of shit, right? To take away from people the same programs that you benefited from. Because if we talk about the Cuban Adjustment Act, yeah, we're talking about housing, we're talking about welfare, we're talking about food stamp, we're talking about school training, right? We're talking about all these things, right? And they love to tell you, I came to this motherfucking country to work hard. No, you came out to this motherfucking country with a handout, and you got it easy. And democratic policies is the one that kept you in this fucking country with your hand out. Now you turn around as hypocrites to your own people, and you destroy that opportunity for people seeking refuge in another country or seeking to build a better life for their country. And here's where MAGA comes into that same ye say statement, right? They love to tell us they should have done it fucking legally. Then what the fuck do you think the Refugee and Parole Act is, motherfucker? What the fuck do you think that is? And here it goes for all my Latinos, whether you voted for him or not. That's a prime example that they just simply don't want us here. Because even those under a program in which they were obtaining their legal citizenship is the first thing they fucking revoked. You can keep believing that shit if you want. But I digress. Against this video is against Cubans for Trump and Venezuelans for Trump. This is about you. This video is about you. I really don't believe that Nicaraguans and Haitians think like that. I know plenty of them, and I don't believe they think like it. It's just you two dumb motherfuckers right there. But I digress.
Anti-blackness and colorism exists in both Hispanic and Black community. In my last post, all I did was encourage unity amongst both communities, which in reality is one. And I have 50-50. A lot of people are instilling their pain and their trauma into what I said. What is wrong with unity? Division is what they want. The sad part is that a lot of the times we are divided amongst ourselves. Only through unity is that we will evolve and get stronger. But only few will understand that. Unfortunately, this world has convinced us that the color of our skin is equivalent to your worth, your intelligence, your value. And that's the message that I don't want our children to receive. Every child that I teach, I encourage them regardless of their color, their race. And I will say it again, despite the hate comments, we need to unite both communities. Black and Latino division is profitable. If they divide two of the most influential communities and create hatred amongst us, then they profit. Some of our people from both communities are so brainwashed, our own people forget their roots. Forgetting your roots is a good thing because for them, if you forget where you came from, then you forget how powerful you are. When I dive into my presentation, Real Masters of STEM, I explain how the ancient Kemetic civilization has a lot of the STEM and technology that we use today, starting with the IFA and the binary code. Instead of dividing, we need to unite. We need to stop allowing people distract us from the truth, reduce the noise, learn more, and focus.
I've been seeing Black people say that it's not our fight with regards to Latinos and them getting deported and everything. And I disagree. I think that it is the same fight. Civil rights is the same fight regardless. I just think that we shouldn't go out there and protest because it's not a good strategy. We've done it so many times. I've personally done it many, many times. And the reason why it's not a good strategy for anyone who wants civil rights, for Black people to be the face of it, is because no one cares when we're the face of it. When Black people are the face of something, people lose empathy really quickly. I'm sorry, but y'all do. Other groups of people do not care when we are the face of it. So when y'all are the face of it, when other communities are the face of the civil rights movement that we're having currently, something's going to get done. Things will get done. We fought for it for so long and we've done all the same things. And I think that us sitting out is a strategy that we haven't tried. And you see how much it's upsetting people. Everyone's getting upset because we're not acting like we have traditionally acted. I've been married for 20 years and I've read a lot of books about marriage. And one thing that they say is that if you're in a cycle with your partner and they keep doing the same thing, then you keep doing the same thing. They keep doing the same thing, then you keep doing the same thing. You keep having the same argument over and over. One person has to stop. One person has to stop the cycle. And Black people, they kept doing things to us, treating us unfairly, then we kept marching. Treating us unfairly, we march. Treating us unfairly, this time we broke the cycle.
What we're not going to do in 2025. What we're not going to do is pretend to be a part of a culture for content and then disappear when the culture is under attack. Culture isn't a costume. Stand up or sit down. Now, y'all know there's a content creator out here who has built his entire platform on speaking Spanish and going to Latino restaurants and getting praise for embracing the culture. People loved him. He got a lot of followers, sponsorships, and praise, and a whole lot of friendly invites. But this isn't an honorable Latino storyline. Okay? Now that Latino communities are being hit with ICE raids, families are being torn apart, and xenophobia is happening out loud, silence, not a word, not a peep. Culture is not a costume. It is not for your entertainment. It is not your money grab. Cosplaying a culture for your convenience and disappearing during a struggle, that's not support, that's exploitation. That's not representation. That's modern day colonizer energy. You're not a colleague. You're a colonizer. Period. You benefit from the culture but stay silent during the pain? Boy, bye. If you love a culture, then show up when it counts. Otherwise, step aside. We're not going to applaud performance allies. It's 2025. Do better or get dragged with love. Let's be real. We should have all known when you said that the kids at school was calling you La Negra. We should have known then. I don't know why it didn't click to me then. When Kendrick Lamar said they not like us, he was talking about folks like you. Let me tell y'all what we're not.
I don't think the Black Americans that are trying to sit this out until the Gestapo makes it to their front door really understand that now is the time. You don't want to fight the government once everyone else that they're trying to get away to get to you is gone. You don't want to wait until there's no Latinos in this bitch. You don't want to wait until there's no Arab people. You don't want to wait until there's no gay people or no smart people, because all the educated people with money are going to do a brain drain. It's already happening. You don't want to wait until it's just you and the indigenous people having to fight this government. You don't want to wait until then. That's not when you want to do the fighting. And what's crazy about their logic, right? Like, if everything goes in fruition like they think they want it to, when it is just niggas and indigenous people in this bitch being the victims of this shit, they're still gonna be like, well, you know, I don't give a fuck what's happening over there on them reservations, because they ain't do nothing for us. Like, niggas. At the very least, for self-preservation, you want the numbers. And what's wild is that the Black community has suffered through so much of white supremacist conditioning that when it does boil down to it just being us versus the government, y'all are still gonna be like, well, I'm sitting this out. Because that light-skinned girl over there, she kind of look white any fucking way. Or I'm sitting this out because them black queer people over there, they don't do nothing for us. Y'all are gonna sit your way out into the gulags. On a humanity level, my ancestors do not allow me to ignore the strife. If your ancestors is not talking to you, that's fine. You know, not your church, not your ministry. But on the simple self-preservation level, you want the numbers. Like, y'all are not strategists. Y'all are just emotionally stunted because of what has happened to our community. That's all that this is. And, like, you guys really don't have the time for that shit. Okay? Because once they figure this shit, they're figuring it out. The goal has always been to put us back in fucking chains. And if we got 37 different groups of people in between us and the chains, you would think you'd want to keep them 37 around. You would think you'd want to work. Like, sure, okay, there's racism in Latin America. Sure. There's also homophobia and transphobia in the Black community. As a trans man, should I just sit it out while some fucking black dude who I know hates black women gets shot by the police? No, because I know the police will shoot my black ass too. Like, it's like, we had this conversation in 2020 and y'all didn't learn shit. Y'all don't be learning nothing from what is happening in recent history. That's why I don't want to tell y'all niggas to read books anymore. Because, like, y'all are not even learning what you were supposed to learn 5 years ago. This shit is wild. That whole I'm sitting this out is just Stockholm Syndrome with extra steps. Go to fucking therapy at the very least. Like, fam, it's not even just the fact that they feel like the government truly won't do anything to them. Because I think most, like, at least 90% of black people in this country understand that the government can and will do something to them. I think what it is, in addition to that, is that there are black people in this country that feel that they innately have the tools, knowledge, and capability to circumnavigate this fascist regime that's being built. And that's fucking insane. Let's just look at the reality of the situation here, okay? Where is the Black Mecca? right? Where's that? Like, you know how Cubans have Miami? What city do black people have? Atlanta. Where do these motherfuckers decide to build one of the biggest cop cities, the biggest and first cop city in the black mecca known as Atlanta? Where are they trying to build the largest concentration camp, immigration holding facility in the country? Georgia. What is Gilly? It's an international program for Georgia cops to be sent over to Israel so that they can learn under the IDF so that they can bring back those tactics to Georgia to include our black mecca. You know what I'm saying? Like, niggas, are y'all not seeing the triangulation against us? And you want to just allow for them to remove all of our buffer regions? Are you the fuck serious? Like, just... This shit don't make sense to me. As somebody who is like literally seeing this as a potential front, like these white people have been fantasizing about doing a civil war for literal decades. Like every other zombie apocalypse film they push out is just them trying to find a release for wanting to attack us. They're triangulating like a motherfucker, and y'all talking about, well, you know, you were racist to me that one time, so like, fuck you. You know, it's like, okay, that's a way to do it. That is a path, okay, fine. But if there is a tipping point, if we have more black people thinking like that, and less black people thinking like, we need as many people to fight this bitch as possible, and we'll bury the hatchet now to deal with the racism bullshit later, that's only going to exacerbate everything else. That's only going to exacerbate the brain drain for sure, right? Like it's only going to solidify the logic and concept when we have less and less to work with. When we actually do have to worry about, oh shit, well, they successfully made sure that the immigration numbers are at bare bones minimum. They've successfully made sure that the Latino numbers are either plateaued or declining. Now it's just us. All right. And I guarantee you the motherfuckers are going to turn around and be the homophobia, transphobia, and ableism in the black community will only increase. If they don't figure this shit out, it will only increase. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. And it's like, all right. Eventually, everyone's going to try to protect themselves. I know for me, I'm getting the fuck up out of here. If y'all keep doing this bullshit, like, I have a little bit of faith in the black community, but if I were to just take y'all at face value, I know for a fact that as a trans black man, I am not safe around you niggas. I'm not safe in this country, period. But I'm really not safe in my own fucking community. So why the fuck would I stick around for this shit? Why am I sticking around for this? When I'm watching y'all, give excuses that I know you're gonna give me when it's just us in this bitch. Fuck that. Suck my dick from the back, bro. It's in a suitcase. I'll pull it out for you immediately.
I don't support anybody who's not black saying the N-word. I will say that now. But I will also say that if you are more upset about those Latinos saying the N-word than you are with the fact that there are black and Latino Hispanic police officers in uniform defending the fucking system and oppressing us, then your priorities are a little fucked up. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I think there's a conversation to be had about both. And I feel like if y'all are, I see a lot of people in our community very quick to call out the Latino and Hispanic community and other marginalized groups or whatever. But why do y'all never have that energy for the raccoons and the sellouts in our communities? Why don't y'all have this energy for black police officers that are out there defending the fucking system that's oppressing us? Two things can be true at the same time. Yes, anybody who's not black shouldn't be saying the N-word, period. I don't give a fuck who you grew up around. The problem is that a lot of them feel comfortable saying the N-word because other black people have made them feel comfortable saying the N-word. And because we aren't calling out people in our fucking community on giving these people the pass, now these people are comfortable. So that's something that we also need to acknowledge in our community, is the fact that we do let a lot of people slide with a lot of raccoon sellout shit. Shit, if I'm gonna be quite honest with you, just a couple months ago, I live in the hood. Just a couple months ago, there was a white boy on Facebook who's very popular in our community and kicks it with majority black people, I would say. He says the N-word. I called his ass out. I was one of the only people in my community to call his ass out. And guess what? The whole fucking black community attacked me, bro. Trying to fight and all types of shit for calling out this white boy for saying the N-word. Few weeks later, same shit happened. Palestinian had to call him out on saying the N-word. I understand that you've been around us, but you is not us. And guess who came to save his day? Guess who came to save the day? Hell of my own people. Sat there bullying me on fucking Facebook for me calling out non-black people for saying the N-word. So it's like, I don't want to hear shit. Y'all don't even, like, my mom's white. And I'm not going to lie to y'all. She has said the N-word. And I'm 100% positive because the black people that she's around has made her feel comfortable saying that shit. So now I have to deal with trying to correct her and get on her fucking ass about saying it. People don't want to acknowledge that though. Like, that shit is, like, I don't know. I'm getting tired of it. Shit goes both ways. Let's be real.
Florida will be the downfall of Latinos and Hispanics every time. Florida is what I will vote for Donald Trump. Florida is the home of I will vote for Donald Trump. That's where they live.
This is
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, I'm hoping that you're doing great from wherever you're watching me from. This is what I promised to share with you why I think black people cannot be deported. First, you need to understand that black people in America, they are not immigrants. They are the descendants of the enslaved. Part of them are the descendants of the enslaved, and part of them were already in America before even the Columbus. So if the first person to step their feet in the United States was black people. Now, this is the most fundamental distinction that must be made. Immigrants, whether from Europe, Asia, or Latin America, came to the U.S. by choice. Some fleeing poverty or violence, others seeking opportunity. But black people were not part of that narrative. They were stolen from Africa through the transatlantic slave trade and forced into bondage across the Americas, particularly in what became the United States. Because of this, black people have a non-consensual but fundamental relationship with the land, a relationship built through blood, sweat, resistance, and survival. To frame them as deportable is not only historical but morally bankrupt. That's point number one. The second thing is that the descendants of the enslaved Africans built America's economy before it was even a country. From the year 1600s onwards, black labor under slavery was the engine that powered the British colony. Enslaved Africans cultivated tobacco in Virginia, picked cotton in the deep South, and built ports, homes, and cities from Maryland to New York. The wealth generated from slavery funded Americans' independence and helped create a financial institution that still dominates the country today. In this sense, black people are the co-founders of the United States. They didn't arrive after the fact. They were there from the beginning, shaping and sustaining it under violent oppression. Also, the third thing that I would like to talk about to also prove what I'm trying to say is that black people's blood and history are in the soil. This is important, right? This isn't metaphorical, it is literal. From the plantations of Mississippi to the streets of Charleston and the swamps of Louisiana, these remains countless enslaved Africans lie buried in unmarked graves. Their labor, their bodies, their resistance, these things are woven into the land itself. You cannot deport people whose ancestors are buried under the foundation of the nation. Black Americans are not guests. They are part of the soil, the struggle, and the story of America. Right? So I really think that's really important for us to think in that line, because oftentimes there's so much misunderstanding that comes with these kinds of discussion. But it's about learning from each other. If there's a point that I made that you don't agree with, feel free to tell me in the comment section. Tell me, but at least be kind, right? So the fourth point that I'm going to be talking about is that the idea of black people could be deported reflects a deep-rooted anti-blackness even among other oppressed groups. When some Latinos or other immigrants believe that black people can be deported, it often stems from a subconscious belief that black people are perpetual outsiders. This is rooted in the colonial lie that whiteness equals citizenship and blackness equals criminality or foreignness. It also shows lack of education around African American history. Many immigrants arriving generations later were not taught that black people were already here, suffering and building long before their arrival. That ignorance, intentional or unintentional, contributes to a false idea about belonging. Also, legally, black Americans are not subjected to deportation because they are native-born citizens. Descendants of the enslaved Africans in the U.S. are not foreign nationals. They are Americans with deeper roots in the country than most white families. Their ancestors arrived as early as 1600s, and their families have survived slavery, segregation, lynching, Jim Crow, and mass incarceration. There is no legal mechanism that allows a native-born citizen to be deported unless they renounce citizenship or commit high-level treason, neither of which applies to the vast majority of black Americans. The very idea of deportation is absurd when applied to people who never migrated here. Right? So you get to understand how things unravel and how things really go. I'm also going to be talking about black people have continuously fought for the soul of America. Remember from the civil rights and civil rights movement, it was black resistance that exposed and challenged the contradictions of American democracy. Black leaders, thinkers, and everyday people pushed the nation to live up to the promises of the Constitution and Declaration of Independence. Remember figures like Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, Ida B. Wells, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr. are not just part of black history. They are the central to American history. No group has done more to democratize the country than African Americans. And they have paid for that contribution with their lives. That's another thing that I feel like it's imperative for us to understand. Also, indigenous presence of the indigenous presence and African presence predates the U.S. Constitution. Some scholars and historians argue that Africans arrived in Americas before European colonization through the contact with indigenous civilization. Evidence such as African artifacts in Mesoamerica, Olmec status with African features, and accounts of African scholars pre-Columbus suggest that black presence on this land may go back even further than 1619. While this still debated in mainstream academia, it speaks to broader truth. Black people are not newcomers. They are deeply embedded in the Western Hemisphere's history, and not just as slaves, but as explorers, builders, and survivors. Right? Also, another thing that I would like to address in the same line is the perception of black people as foreign, persists because of white supremacy. We ain't gonna have discussion without this playing a part, and we know it very well. From the beginning of American law and society, blackness has been poisoned as outside the norm. The Constitution originally defined enslaved Africans as 3/5 of a person. Even after emancipation, black people were denied full citizenship right for another country. Media, politics, and culture have all reinforced the idea that black people are the other, criminal, lazy, violent, dangerous, aliens. Now, this dehumanization made slavery, segregation, and modern mass incarceration socially acceptable. When people entertain the idea of deporting black people, they are unknowingly echoing that same white supremacist ideology. Also, I would like to say that no other group has suffered more than for the sins of America than black people. Black people have suffered for the sins of America. The trauma of slavery, racial violence, poverty, displacement, and generational exclusion has scarred the black community more deeply than any other demographic. And you'll agree with me. Yet, black Americans have not only endured, they have innovated, created, and led cultural, political, and moral revolutions. Talk about jazz, hip-hop, to the fight for the voting rights and the criminal justice reforms. Black people have redefined what it means to be American, often without receiving credit or protection. To call them deportable is to insult their sacrifice and to deny their legacy. I would like to conclude by saying that black people cannot be deported from America because they are America. Their ancestry predates the birth of the nation. Their sweat irrigated its soil, and their struggle gave it moral depth. They are not foreign bodies in the nation organism. They are its heart. They are its lungs and spine. Any ideology or belief system that frames black people as removable is based on historical ignorance and racist delusion. Instead of questioning black belonging, the real question should be, can America ever be redeemed without fully recognizing and honoring its black foundation? I'm your host and presenter, Eugene Stories. But until then, let me see you in my next video. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.